Good morning, grade 8. Welcome to our music class. I am Miss Ash and I'm so excited to see you again today. So, here are a few reminders before we start. Mute your microphone unless I call you to speak or to recite. Always turn on your video cameras all throughout our music class. And I encourage you to participate by first raising your hand or clicking the hand icon if you want to answer a question or to speak or to ask another question. And lastly, use the chat box only if needed if you want to answer and maybe your microphones are not working. And now let's recall the class rules that we are able to discuss during the first week of our classes. R is for respect. Respect classmates, teachers, cultural diversity and differences. U, understand. Understand lessons, different points of view, and even mistakes. L is for listen. Listen attentively with creative and critical ears. E, enjoy class activities, individual and group efforts. And lastly, S is for self-discipline. It's essential, especially during online classes, to complete tasks and to maximize learning experiences. Now, let's start by answering this question. What is theater? So, what is theater for you? So, I will give you a link and just follow the simple instructions. Number 1, click the link that will be sent in the meeting chat. Then, after clicking the link, you will see this screen, and all you have to do is type your answers. And lastly, number 3, click submit. So you can also go to www.menti.com and use the code 41247711. Okay, but I think it's easier for you to use the link. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to input or type your answers. And later on, let's see the answers of all of your classmates and even yours. Okay, so aside from defining what is theater, you can also include objects or things that you can associate with theater. Okay, so are you done? Okay, so let's see the results of your answer. So here is the word cloud that includes all of your answers. So if you can see some words are bigger or the fonts are bigger, it means that your classmates or some of your classmates wrote the same exact word. So we have here play, drama, costume, yes, stage, of course, characters, musical, what else? Acting, dialogue, performance, musicians. What else? It's creative. Yes. And all of your answers are right. So thank you for sharing these words. And I'm sure it's based from your experience, right? So maybe some of you are able to watch actual or live performances inside the theater. But maybe some of you are just familiar with it by watching it online. And hopefully, after the pandemic, we'll be able to go to the theaters again to watch live performances. And yes, today we'll learn more about theater. And this time, let's look at this map. Are you familiar with this map? Of course, you can see there the Philippines, yes. And you're right, this is the map of Asia. This quarter, we'll be traveling across Asia in different countries, specifically Indonesia, Japan, and China. Okay, so we'll learn more about Asian theater, but for today, we'll just focus on the first country, Indonesia. Wayang Kulit is from Indonesia, and before we discuss about it, we will watch an excerpt of a performance, and I would like you to observe carefully, listen to the music that you hear, and later on, I'll ask you some questions after watching this short video clip.
Astungkara sidam sekaring bawana langgeng titahulun ger Pandu Madrim aja tidha-tidha tumuli nyemplunga kawah candra dimuka
Dasinawan cicimat pepundhen
Sinuwun boten nyono menawi nyabrang lelampahan ingkang gegirisi sinuwun.
wis Yayi Madrim aja ngresula lelakon mono adile mung dilakoni yen sira lan pun kakang nampa lelakon iki kanthi legawa muga-muga antuka pangapunten.
Okay, so we will pause there and I would like you to answer this question. What are your observations and how can you describe this performance? So if you want to raise your virtual hand, you can answer or just use our chat box to share your thoughts about this. Yes, so I can see here in our meeting chat, your classmate said shadows. Yes. Different instruments, singers, and narration. So you're right. So let's get to know more about Wayang Kulit and its elements or components. Wayang Kulit or shadow theater is the origin of many other theater forms in Bali and Java, Indonesia. So literally, wayang means shadow or sometimes puppet. Kulit means leather or skin. So the stories of Wayang Kulit performances are derived from various sources such as the Indian Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So I'm sure that you're familiar with these two famous epics, right? And in the photos, you can see that behind the screen are the musicians, yes, and the dalang or the narrator. Later on, we'll get to know more about him. And here is the view of the audience, just like the video example that we saw earlier. So we can see the screen and of course, the shadow of the puppets. What are the components or elements of Wayang Kulit? So we'll start with the first one, dalang. So the dalang has a very important role in this performance. So he manipulates the leather puppets on a simple white screen and acts as a narrator. Aside from that, he also leads the gamelan orchestra or the musicians all throughout the 10-hour performance. So imagine that's a very long performance, and aside from moving or manipulating these puppets, he also leads a group of musicians. So what's a gamelan orchestra? So it's the musical accompaniment that consists of various instruments. So the instruments include gongs, what else? Metallophones, xylophones, drums, flutes, and zithers, and other string instruments. And if you can still remember, in that video performance, we also heard a singer. So it's also part of the gamelan orchestra. Next, here are the puppets, or the skillfully cut and chased in leather, and the puppet size depends on the character. So if it's more important, it's bigger, and usually the monsters or the enemies are much bigger than these puppets. So here's Rama and Sita, Hanuman, Semar, and Gunungan is a very important puppet that we will always see in a Wayang Kulit performance. So the Gunungan represents the tree of life. This time, let's look at other different Wayang plays. So aside from Wayang Kulit, we have Wayang Wong or Wayang Orang, and its performers act the roles on a stage. Okay, or the roles of the puppet. So instead of seeing the shadows of different puppets, we can see actual people acting on a stage. Next, Wayang Golek. It features three-dimensional wood puppets. Next, Wayang Topeng or Wayang Gedog features performers or men who are wearing masks. And lastly, Wayang Klitik features wooden puppets which are flat. Let's see if we can identify among these wayang plays. So all you have to do is choose the correct wayang play while I show you some pictures and while I read different descriptions. So we have 5 choices: Wayang Kulit, Wayang Wong, Wayang Golek, Wayang Topeng, or Wayang Klitik. So are you ready? All you have to do is type your answers using our meeting chat. First one, it features three-dimensional wood puppets. Can you please type your answers? Let's wait for your classmates. And yes, the correct answer is yes, Wayang Golek. How about the next one? Features wooden puppets which are flat. So remember, if the puppets are flat, yes, it's Wayang Klitik. How about this one? Shadow theater led by the Dalang. Obviously, it's the first play that we're able, or theater that we're able to discuss. Yes, Wayang Kulit. Next, performers act the roles on a stage. So instead of watching different puppets, we can see actual performers on a stage. And the correct answer is Wayang Wong or Orang. Lastly, performers are men wearing masks. So if the performers are all men and if they wear masks, the correct answer is Wayang Topeng or Gedog. Okay, so thank you for typing the correct answers and for participating. I hope that you've learned something new today, and I hope that you're able to identify the differences among these wayang plays and their specific or distinct characteristics. Now, to end the class, let's answer this question. What is the significance of theater in preserving and enriching the heritage and culture of a community? So after knowing about Wayang Kulit and Wayang Plays and its importance in the culture of Java and Bali, how can you answer this question? So all you have to do is again follow these simple instructions. Number 1, click the link that will be sent in the meeting chat. Number 2, type your short answer to the given question. So all you have to do is click this box. And lastly, click submit. Because we don't have enough time left, we'll be looking at your answers in this question next meeting. And after recalling our lesson for today, we'll start discussing about theater from Japan and China, Kabuki, and Peking opera. So again, thank you grade 8 and see you next meeting. I hope that you're able to learn something for today and I hope that you enjoyed our activities. Goodbye!